Y'all remember Mission Impossible, the movies about the secret agents that are trying to do a mission that's supposedly impossible? Well, do you guys remember in those movies, at least some of the early adaptations of it, where they would utilize masks and different types of disguises and ways to either utilize it for espionage or to try and escape a situation where you need to hide your identity or anything like that? Well, the thing is the CIA actually did stuff like that. And even though the world has gone digital and high tech, I don't think they ever actually stopped using that type of technology. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Zach, the WretchedWatchmen, bringing you just a little bit of news, information, whatever you want to call it. I just wanted to kind of bring this to our attention. It's something that I'm sure we all know about, we've all heard in the past, but I think we may have forgotten about it. We tend to get caught up in all the high-tech technology and advancements that are going on with that. And, you know, we talk about all that stuff here on this channel. But sometimes we got to go back. We got to go back a little bit to more of the basic technology and realize that maybe they are still using that. And even that has advanced to a point where we just don't even know. And so what I want to talk about is, like we've seen in Mission Impossibles and other spy movies and TV shows and whatnot, where the utilization of masks was a key thing. And I think even today, these are still being used in some way, shape, or form, not necessarily in espionage and the spies and secret agents and all that stuff, which I think they still are in that way as well. But I think we're seeing it in public figures all around the world. But because we get so caught up in all the high-tech stuff, I think sometimes we forget to look at the more basic type of technology of just utilizing masks to pull the wool over our eyes. And so when it comes to this stuff, sometimes our perception of things can let us down. Sometimes, you know, they say you use perception to identify reality, but sometimes reality is created through our perception, and our senses can fool us, whether it's taste, sight, smell, sound. These things can fool us. And then especially if we have already a preconceived notion, our perception or our senses can kind of lean in certain directions because we expect it to be something else. And so when it comes to deception and all of the deceiving things going on around us, sometimes we have either a pre-built reality through our own perception, or we have a leaning from a preconceived notion that sometimes we take information or even sights and sounds and smells, and they're not exactly what they turn out to be. And I've warned a lot about different things on this aspect, not necessarily just in the mask department, but just in deception all along. And I've talked about people like Alex Jones and Mike Adams, or the Health Ranger, Natural News, whatever you want to call them. I've talked about people like that. I've talked about people like Stu Peters and even Redacted and whatnot. And we see that they're starting to show colors where more and more people are starting to get a handle on who those people are. And there's always this deception that's always flowing around. But when it comes to leaders and talking heads, yes, when it comes to screen time, it's definitely easy to use deep fakes and AI and all the technology. But what about in person? Are we sure we're not seeing, are we sure we're not actually perceiving what is reality? Are we sure we're not recognizing that? And so when it comes to these masks, I got a couple of videos here I want to show you. Now, this one comes from the CIA. Back in the day when they didn't necessarily have advanced technology on masks, but they still used them. And so this is when they created the 5-second mask. So I want you guys to check this out first. This is old school technology.
It could keep you safe. It could keep you from getting shot. It could keep you alive. A mask could. are amazed that there was a job title called Chief of Disguise. And most women I know wish they'd had that job. Sounded like fun. Actually, it was fun. I don't think another intelligence agency in the world devoted the time and the budget to disguise like we did. Disguise became a form of body armor. In the Spy Museum, we call the mask a 5-second mask. They proved invaluable. You could change your ethnicity, you could change your gender, you could change your nationality, and if you needed to, you could actually become another person.
Now, these are interesting because those are the old school ones, and you can hear from one of the chief of disguise from the CIA. And she goes on to talk about how she got help from the Hollywood makeup and costume departments to help develop these masks, but they were more advanced than what you would see in Hollywood because they had to be put on almost instantaneously. They're called a 5-second mask for a reason. And they have to be able to conform to the person's face. And she talks about how they would have these masks specifically designed for people, kind of like when you go to the dentist and they do the thing around your teeth in order to get the mold so they can get the correct out layer and how it all works on that. Well, they would do the same thing for the face. So when it would be put on, it would contour to the person's face. So there would be no little bubbles around the eyes. You could move your jaw, your nose, all your features, and everything would move. The mask would move accordingly because it was built directly for you. And they would also be built so well that they could fold them up and just shove them underneath their arm to hide it if they needed to. And then you could pull it right out, throw it on, and there wouldn't be any wrinkles or anything. So even back then, they had incredible technology with masks where you would have somebody literally 3 feet from you and they wouldn't recognize that you're wearing a mask. Now, that was back in the day. That was way back in the day. And so with all the advancements with materials and chemicals and the technology itself, don't you think they could advance those masks even further to make them a lot more deceptive? I think they could. And so not even coming from a government or a CIA, just coming from a modern day mask shop, this is how advanced the technology is just for your basic costume shop. Check this out. If I hadn't had told you that that was a mask in that video that I was about to play, you would probably think that that's a real person. He was moving his jaw and his mouth, and it was moving with it. He was blinking, and there was no issues there. He had the hat on and the glasses. It's got the synthetic mustache. It looks very real. And that's just from your everyday mask shop that any one of us could go to. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the government and the CIA even has better technology for masks than that today. So the whole point I want to bring with this is, as we know, Matthew 24, when the disciples went to Jesus and asked for what are the signs of the end, he started out with, take heed, do not be deceived. He started out with deception. And I've talked about this before where we talk about deception a lot on these prophecy channels, but I'm not sure we actually have a true understanding of the deception that is happening now. Whether it's the news that we get, whether it's the people that we see on screen or even in person, or anything in between, I'm not sure we understand just how far Satan has gone to deceive us. We could talk about it all day long, but again, I just don't think we get it because, again, when it comes to things that we hear, whether it's from politicians, news people, people like Alex Jones, Redacted, Stu Peters, and Mike Adams and whatnot. We have a preconceived notion, and we perceive them to be on the good side of things because they're warning about what's going on with the obvious bad side of things. But now we're finding out how much they're over on the other side, and they've been deceiving the whole time. What else have they been lying about? What else have they been doing for their own benefit? And the same goes for the left as well. We need to be very careful of what we believe. We need to be very careful what we perceive as reality. The only thing that we can trust, the only thing we can trust is the Bible. That's the only thing that we know is 100% true. And we can put all of our faith and all of our hope in that. So I just wanted to let you guys know, just kind of give you a little thing here on deception. Just be very, very cautious of what you believe, what you follow, and the perception that you think is reality out there. So I think this deception goes a lot deeper than we actually understand. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you right here. You guys have a great one. Peace out and Maranatha.